Hello friends, welcome to the new playlist named Environmental Conservation and Disaster Management. It is also a field of civil engineering where our first module, or we would say our first topic, is Introduction to Environmental Science. So let us quickly start with the first topic of this module, that is environment. So here we'll learn what are the definitions of the environment, what is its importance and how can we conserve it. So at first we'll see various definitions of this. So the first definition of environment is all the external factors influencing the life and the activity of people, plants and animals. So here we are talking about external factors. These factors which influence the life of not only people but also plants and animals. So the things which makes impact on people, plants and animals. This is known as environment. This is the first and the basic definition of environment. The second definition of environment which anybody can define, not only engineer but any student can define, is all the things, that is objects and circumstances surrounding us, is known as environment. So here things in the sense all the factors that are influencing whom? To us. Here us is people, plants and animals. So the definitions are the same but the way of expressing it is different. All the things surrounding us is known as environment. But which things? There are objects and circumstances. What we initially said as factors. So basically here we understood that everything around us is environment. But these two are the way of expressing it by any non-technical person. But being an engineer, you should define it as the complex. See here, this is the most precise definition of environment which any technical person can define. The complex of physical, chemical and biotic factors, that is physical, chemical and biological factors affecting an organism and ultimately determining its form and survival is known as environment. The complex of, that is the mixture of physical, chemical and biological factors which affects the organisms. Here organisms in the sense people, plants and animals, as we discussed earlier, and ultimately determining its form, in which form the organism is exists. That is either it may be human, it may be plant, it may be animal, it can even be microorganism. So the everything surrounding it in form of physical, chemical and biological factors is known as environment. So we need to remember this definition. Let me read this again by using a pointer. The complex of, that is the mixture of physical, chemical and biotic factors affecting an organism and ultimately determining its form and survival is known as environment. So this is the definition which we need to remember and use it when required. Moving further, we'll understand what is environmental science. This is our second task after understanding the basic definitions of environment. So here the definition of environmental science is somewhat like this. Let me change the cursor. The systematic and scientific study. See, this is basically the study. The science is or a study of the environment and our role in it. See, here we are studying the environment and we are also studying what are our role to preserve the environment. This is known as environmental science. We can even say that the process of acquiring the knowledge of environment and our role in it to preserve it is known as environmental science. We can remember this definition. This branch includes the knowledge of pure science and to some extent social science. That is, it does not require knowledge only of the physical world but sociological world, that is social science, where we are talking about the creatures, living organisms, humans, plants, animals, all these are also considered in environmental science. So as an overview, you can say that environmental science is a study of environment and our role in it to preserve it. Moving further, why is it necessary to learn environmental science? Our environment is very important to us because it is where we live and share resources with other species. As we all have been studying since our childhood that we should preserve the environment. This is because it is the place where we live and we need to take care about the environment. The environmental science enlightens us on how to conserve our environment in the face of increasing human population growth and anthropogenic activities that degrade natural resources and ecosystem. So as I explained, environmental science teaches us how to conserve the environment. This is because We should learn to conserve our environment because due to increasing population, anthropogenic, that is, the undesirable activities created by humans. All these activities may damage or degrade the natural resources and our ecosystem. Now, what is ecosystem, that we'll understand later on, but right now our overview is that we should conserve our environment, and that is what our environmental science teaches us. Now, moving further, we'll understand what is environmental studies. This is our third task after understanding environment and environmental science. So the branch of study concerned with environmental issues is known as environmental studies. This is similar to we can say environmental science. It also teaches us how to conserve the environment, but this is a broader term where we can understand all the issues faced by the environment in order to preserve that. So the study dealing with the environmental issues is known as environmental studies. It has a broader coverage than environmental science and includes the social aspects of the environment. So as I said, it is a broader coverage compared to environmental science. It also includes the social aspects of the environment. That is, it includes the relationship between living organisms. Moving further again, importance of environmental studies. Now we'll understand why is it important to learn environmental studies. So here our first point is environmental studies is useful in checking environmental pollution and related solutions. As a basic science students, we already know what are the types of environmental pollution, and we also know that we should prevent that. But this environmental pollutions and all these things we'll understand later on. Right now, this is the first importance of studying this or learning this environmental study. Second is it helps in maintaining ecological balance. So here the term ecological balance may be defined somewhat like this, that in the natural environment there exists a perfect balance or equilibrium between the various organisms. This balance is known as ecological balance. So in short, we can say that the balance between all the living organisms, that is ecological balance. In order to conserve our environment, we need to balance this ecological system. In detail, we'll understand what is ecology and ecosystem. But right now we are concerned only with the importance of environmental studies. Then the third point is it helps to gain skills to access the environmental impact of human activities. That is the undesirable activities created by human beings. We are talking about that. Then next is environmental study will help to protect biodiversity. That is to protect all the types of living organism on the earth. Then next is it gives us basic knowledge of environment and associated problems. We can solve all the associated problems of environment by learning environmental studies. The next is it helps to achieve sustainable development. That is, by learning this, we'll understand how can we preserve the natural resources. That is known as sustainable development. Then it helps to educate people regarding their duties towards the protection of the environment. By learning environmental studies, we'll understand how can we protect our environment and what are our ethics and duties for this. Then last point here is the knowledge of environmental science will be applied to the study of agriculture. So this environmental studies is also related with the agriculture. So friends, this is all for today. This was the first part where we understood what is environment, environmental science and environmental studies. So this is all for today. Thank you for watching.